the stimulus package says there's $6.5 billion available to consumers that want to weatherize their homes, people that can't afford to weatherize, and if they're a renter, the landlord can do it, so that you can reduce your energy bills. I think that's very significant. It also says we're going to provide funding for the creation of millions of jobs where there's training for low-income consumers. I think that's very significant as well. That's the stimulus package, and then I can go on and on. But there's specific elements that AABE can help our communities understand. Here are the available funds. Here's how you can get access to them. Here are the training programs that are available. Here's an opportunity for you to create a new career. Here's a way that you can reduce your energy bills. Here's a way that you can take your entrepreneurial talent and contribute something to technology developed in our country.
Welcome to AABE TV. My name is Richard Campbell. With us today we have David Owens, who is the chair of the AABE Legislative Issues and Public Policy Committee, and Sabrina Campbell, who is the treasurer of AABE and the vice chair of the Legislative Issues and Policy Committee. David Owens is the executive vice president of business operations for the Edison Electric Institute, with responsibility for the strategic areas of energy supply and the environment, energy delivery and services, and also international affairs. In his role as chair for AABE's Legislative Issues and Public Policy Committee, he leads the development and dissemination of position papers to ensure African American and other minorities have a voice in the development of U.S. energy and environmental positions. Sabrina Campbell is Director of Federal Agency Relations with the American Electric Power Company, one of the largest electric public utilities in the United States. She serves on AABE's Board of Directors as Treasurer and is the Vice Chairperson of AABE's Legislative Issues and Public Policy Committee. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Our first question goes to David Owens. How would you describe AABE's membership and mission, and what are AABE's goals?
AABE is an organization that includes over 1,400 energy professionals at all levels of companies that are actively involved in energy issues. It's a tremendous forum for transferring knowledge and information. It's a tremendous forum for getting our young people excited about getting into science and engineering fields. It's an organization that prides itself in representing the African American community, but more importantly too, the low-income and fixed-income community. It's an organization that focuses its attention on trying to have an impact on energy laws that are being developed by our Congress and by our regulators in the states. It's an organization that has tremendous entrepreneurial talent. A lot of AABE's members have their own businesses, and they're vital to helping our society function well. So it's a tremendous organization that impacts very significantly all levels of our society as they're impacted by development of energy and environmental policies.
So what are AABE's main goals?
It has several goals. At 32 years ago, a group of African Americans sat around a table and they said, boy, energy policy is being developed, but we look at the people at the table and none of them look like us. So they said, we've got to make sure that we have a voice when there are energy laws that are being developed, because our communities are impacted very substantially. We need to make sure we are represented. Secondly, they said, you know, there are a lot of jobs that are being created in the administration and Congress and agencies, and we look at those key jobs and none of the people in those jobs look like us. So we need to have a talent pool. We need to make sure we have experts that can participate in it. Then they said, you know, many of the energy policies really impact our communities in a disproportionate way. So it's very, very important that we have impact on those policies. And then finally said, we look at these audiences and we don't see many black engineers, we don't see many black scientists, we don't see many black entrepreneurs. So we need to begin to develop a cadre of young people who have an interest so that we can develop that talent pool and carry that on from generation to generation. So we can be well represented as these policies evolve.
I just want to make sure that you get them first.
The energy industry is not only a good job field, it's an exciting opportunity for them. Looking at climate change, looking at renewable energy efficiency, we're talking about trillion-dollar markets. And no one has a corner on that market. Why not our young people?
Through both the high school kids that are getting scholarships and the college kids who come through here, and we're trying to start more college chapters, they're going to grow and learn and be a part of our industry in a way that many of us were never exposed to and couldn't have. And that makes this not just about the people who are currently here, but the people we can bring along.
Sabrina, how does AABE arrive at its positions on public policy issues such as climate change?
Well, as David made reference, we tap into I think he used the word cadre of experts from around the country. We have people positioned in 37 chapters around the country that have just an enormous amount of expertise, skill, and talent that we draw on to crank out these or come up with these principles. And we draw on that pool of talent and recognize and appreciate their input to come up with good talking points, good education pieces to inform key stakeholders and public policy makers on issues such as climate change.
Do you want to add anything to that, David?
No, I think she did a good job explaining it. The other thing that under Sabrina's leadership and many of the leaders within the AABE organization, we reach out, we engage,
Yes.
we educate one another.
Yes.
We create sensitivities to these issues. And then we make sure that the positions that are developed through a very elaborate structure that we have a lot of involvement of all the members so that we can personalize and talk about our experiences so that when policies are being implemented, there's a sensitivity to how those policies impact our communities.
David, President Obama has made energy policy and green jobs a cornerstone of his policy to get the U.S. economy back on its feet. Can you tell us what green jobs are and how will these jobs help minority communities?
Green jobs, it's kind of a code word. Any job that is designed to improve the use of energy, that's called energy efficiency. Any job that's designed to improve the environment are called green jobs. And let me give you a couple of examples. If you weather strip your home, it takes someone to do that. That's a green job. If you put a solar panel on your roof, now not many African Americans can afford to put a solar panel on their roof, but to the degree they could, that's a green job. If you put in new windows that are energy efficient, that's a green job. If you work in a utility and the utility is installing solar facilities, these are facilities where the sun, natural resources, it's called a renewable, helps us produce energy, that's a green job. If you have a windmill, that is a green job. If you install it, if you read the meters that monitor the electricity, if you put the wires up that are associated with that, those are green-related jobs. And what our president is saying is, if we are seeking to improve how we use energy, and if we are seeking to respond in terms of cleaning up our environment, there's a whole new opportunity in creating a substantial number of jobs. I believe he says 4 to 8 million jobs can be created from an emphasis and an investment in these infrastructures that are designed to improve our energy use and are designed to help clean up the environment. Those are green jobs.
But green jobs are not just blue-collar type jobs where you're just going to be, say, for example, taking a hammer and nail and putting in insulation.
That's right.
It goes well beyond that.
Yes, and I'm glad you raised it in that context. There's a term called smart technologies, smart electric grid. Today we have a electric system that where appliances with a smart grid, the meter will be able to talk to appliances. In other words, there'll be a communication structure. That's a green job. You'll be able to come into your home and you'll be able to program your meter, and so your meter will be able to talk to your appliances, and those appliances will turn on and off based upon what the prices of energy are throughout the day. That's a green job as well. So it does involve other technologies. It involves the IT systems that go with creating what I call the smart grid. If you are seeking to have a hybrid vehicle, as an example, right now we're concerned about our high dependence on foreign oil. And a byproduct of that, obviously, is gasoline. So if you're seeking to move us off of those traditional sources of energy and move us to electricity and other ethanol and other forms of energy, those are green jobs, and those are hybrid electric vehicles. That's what President Obama is speaking to. He believes that there's a whole new set of technologies that are ready to be tapped, that can revolutionize our society, that can create excitement in our young people so that they can go in math and engineering. We as well, and AABE, believe that as well. And we also believe that there's a vital role that the African American community, and AABE in particular, can play in educating everyone about these unique opportunities to revitalize our economy.
Sabrina, we've just been talking about green jobs, and we've mentioned the smart grid. How are electric utilities involved with renewable energy technologies, and what are the implications of the smart grid for minority communities?
Well, David correctly mentioned the technology approach that the president has taken in his recent legislative initiatives. But there is also another piece of that, and that is infrastructure development. And I think that it is very important for AABE to educate our communities on why infrastructure is so relevant to bring these new technologies, such as renewables, to the market. For example, if you want to bring wind from one part of the country, wind energy or wind generation from one part of the country to another, you've got to have transmission available to move that power. So,
and that's where utilities are involved.
And that's exactly what utilities are involved in. They want to move that renewable resource, but they recognize that it's going to take investments in our infrastructure, namely the transmission grid. And the president is keenly aware of that and has put some emphasis on infrastructure development.
So you can see utilities actually hiring and training folks for some of these, which I've heard are very well-paying jobs.
Absolutely. It's not just the jobs to get the steel in the ground, but it's also the orders that we would put in with vendors, the orders we would put in with steel makers, steel producers. It's going to generate a lot of activity that's going to create jobs.
And the smart grid itself, how do we see that benefiting minority communities? David? Oh.
Go ahead.
I see it in several different ways. I referred earlier to the evolution of technologies. And let's just look at the transportation sector.
Well, maybe I can interrupt for a second and
Please.
just ask you to sort of capsulize what are smart grid technologies in your opinion? What's achievable, say, in the short run?
Smart grid technologies are technologies that help us use energy more efficiently, and smart grid technologies are technologies that create a communication where appliances and meters can talk to one another. Smart grid technologies are designed to control electricity energy flow a lot smarter. All of those, and more efficiently. All of those are factors that will help us reduce our energy bill. And the African American community, by example, spends a disproportionate amount of their disposable income on energy. In fact, if you look at the average family that makes $30,000 to $40,000 a year, then you can see 40% of that disposable income is spent on energy. So if we can reduce our energy bills, and that's what the smart grid is designed to do, it makes us be more conscious of how we use energy, and it helps us make those decisions ourselves. We'll see the prices of energy, and we'll be able to program our appliances. We'll be able to make better decisions about how we use energy.
But to add to that, to get from that point to this point, it's going to create jobs and generate
That's
jobs.
the most important thing.
You've got to create the all of the appliances and all of the accessories that go along with developing smart grid. It's going to require internet protocol, so it's going to require a job set or a certain skill set that is familiar with web pages and internet protocols, and it goes on and on and on. And to the degree that we can educate, as David said, our communities on these opportunities, we would just love to see folks that look like us in these positions as these protocols and processes are being developed.
I might even add, if we look at what has occurred with respect to our movement towards the internet, what Sabrina and I are saying is that this creates an explosion of new opportunities, a whole new set of new jobs, a whole new set of interactions that we'll have with our communities and how they use energy and how it impacts. The most important thing is economic development. I think it is a tool for economic development, something that our communities are vitally interested in.
And it also provides the opportunity. We've seen, for example, pilot programs with smart grids, for example, in the District of Columbia.
That's correct.
Where folks can program or make choices to see what's happening with their real-time uses of electricity, and provides the opportunity for savings.
Provides a substantial opportunity for them to reduce their energy bills.
David, how can AABE and its members have an impact on energy and environmental issues on a federal and on a local level?
Well, maybe I need to put this in a real context. Our president has indicated that there are probably 3 major policy initiatives that he is going to have our Congress seek to adopt, which relate to energy and the environment. The first is the stimulus package. If you look at the stimulus package is a $700 to $800 billion program designed to create new jobs. Specifically in the stimulus package, there are a number of provisions that relate, as an example, to energy efficiency. In fact, I believe the energy efficiency provisions are about $31 billion. What does that mean? What it means is that there's provision that says low-income consumers, the stimulus package says there's $6.5 billion available to consumers that want to weatherize their homes, people that can't afford to weatherize, and if they're a renter, the landlord can do it, so that you can reduce your energy bills. I think that's very significant. It also says we're going to provide funding for the creation of millions of jobs where there's training for low-income consumers. I think that's very significant as well. That's the stimulus package, and then I can go on and on. But there's specific elements that AABE can help our communities understand. Here are the available funds. Here's how you can get access to them. Here are the training programs that are available. Here's an opportunity for you to create a new career. Here's a way that you can reduce your energy bills. Here's a way that you can take your entrepreneurial talent and contribute something to technology develop in our country. I think that's significant. The second thing our president said is we've got to do something about a comprehensive energy bill. We're too far dependent upon foreign sources of energy. We need to rely on domestic sources of energy. He says we've got to really develop our renewable potential. We've got to develop the wind, we've got to develop the solar facilities. Tremendous opportunities.
And as Sabrina, you were talking about, the transmission infrastructure is key to that development.
Yes, it's imperative because, as I said earlier, you have to have the infrastructure in place to get the renewable resources from point A to point B. And by getting that infrastructure developed, you create jobs. But I wanted to harken back to something David mentioned earlier with respect to the training aspect of stimulus. And let me tell you why we're excited about that. We are all struggling to bring young people, especially minorities, into the energy field. It's not a sexy field. It's not an exciting field. And we're competing with folks like Microsoft and others for young talent. So to the degree or extent that the training programs that focus on energy and stimulus might help us feed the pipeline for young people that are interested in math and sciences, we're very excited about that, and rest assured, AABE will take advantage of that.
Very good. David, climate change has spurred a number of voices from the African American community to call for action on global warming. How can AABE bring focus to these voices and to these efforts?
I think several ways AABE can bring focus. First, as we said earlier, the AABE needs to be a part of the dialogue, the discussion about the laws that are being considered to address climate change. I think that's very significant. When you go to the legislative hearings, when you watch on television, all the various forums that are developed to address climate change, you very rarely see African Americans. So we can represent the community and we can make it real. We can say, here's what you need to be sensitive to that impacts the African American community, and more importantly to low-income and fixed-income consumers, because they can't afford to come to Washington and be represented. So we've got to represent those interests. We've got to represent those needs. We've got to create that level of sensitivity that any new major laws or policies need to take into account its impact on our communities. I think that's significant. Secondly, we need to be prepared to educate our communities. We need to get them involved. We need to talk with them about what these issues mean to them, what it means to their children, how it impacts their daily lives, how will it impact their workforce. That's very, very important that we do there. Thirdly, we need to educate them to the degree that if there are facilities that are going to be located in their communities, whether those facilities will help in the economic development or whether they'll retard development and create environmental issues. There's a concept called environmental justice. So we need to make sure that there's an equitable treatment in terms of any facilities are in our communities, the benefits and the costs associated with that. We need to be able to simplify how these complex concepts, how climate change and the ramifications of it impact our daily lives. That's our role.
Well, Sabrina, how do you think viewers of this program can get involved with AABE?
I would certainly direct them to the website, and I would ask that they look at it carefully and look at all the services and activity and focus groups that we have to offer. We actually have coming up in April our major annual conference, and David was just mentioning climate change, and if you look at the agenda for that conference, and I challenge everyone to come and participate and at least have 5 or 6 questions related to energy and climate change that they could bring to that conference and help to get answered. You will see on that program agenda that climate change, just to show you how critical of an issue it is to us, it's weaved all throughout that agenda. That's how important it is, because it carries huge cost ramifications and implications for the AABE communities.
And David, if you could just elaborate on how AABE is involved at the local communities and plans to be more involved with the local communities, because this is more than just the executives and the others, utility companies. It's actually talking about how to get involved with church groups, how to get involved with community
36
groups.
chapters located throughout the United States. Very vibrant group and very dedicated group of people. That's the AABE force. What they seek to do, they work with the churches, they do job fairs, they get our young people involved, they get actively involved in a broad range of community activities. They run educational forums. As was said earlier, we offer tremendous scholarships. We have mentoring programs to help our young people understand. We have general forums where we talk with the community about issues that are at the forefront. Our goal is to have our communities recognize that having input into development of energy issues is vital to our society, and to demonstrate to them that it's also tied to economic development. So AABE is dedicated to doing all of that, to reaching out, to getting involved, and to mobilizing our society so they understand the implications of energy and environmental issues.
Okay, Sabrina, is there anything you want to add to the discussion on economic stimulus or energy policy that's coming up over the next couple of months?
I think primarily on economic stimulus, I think the President has come up with a very thoughtful package. I think there's something in it for a lot of folks in our community, and I would encourage everyone to take a hard look at it. If they
and AABE can serve as a resource.
I was just going to say AABE can serve as a resource and help them sift through
So if
some
I'm
of the
at the-
complicated matters that are in it.
And so if I'm at the church and working through my church group, I can get in touch with Abe through the local chapter.
Absolutely. We would encourage that. And just become more energy savvy.
Have us dumb up the issues for you, because we're from the community too.
Yes.
And we understand the jargon of the community. And we can simplify complicated issues. We can make them relevant to our daily lives. Everybody, when you pick up your energy bill, everybody sees high energy bill. How can I reduce my energy bills?
Well,
We said we can show you how you can save energy. Well, how can I save energy? Well, put in different kinds of light bulbs. But I can't afford to put in different kinds of light bulbs. Those light bulbs are very expensive. They're 5 times more than the light bulbs I buy today. But you know what? The government has a program where they can buy up all those light bulbs for you, or pick up the telephone and call your utility and say, you know, some of those light bulbs that reduce my energy bills, I want some of those and I can't afford to pay for them.
So basically, Abe can act as the translator of the issues. Abe can act as the
We
intermediary.
can simplify the issues. We can explain why an issue is important. We can explain how you can save your energy bills. We can explain the jobs that are created from saving energy. We can make it very simplistic. We can take all the complicated laws. We can tell you how your young people can get scholarships. We can tell you how we can help your children in math and science. We can tell you how we can get them excited about owning their own business someday. We can do all of that.
We've discussed a lot of issues today, and there's a lot going on with energy. Abe is there to serve as a resource. People like Sabrina and David, they understand the issues. If you want to get involved and get in touch, go to the Abe website. That's www.aabe.org. There's contact information there. There's issues there. Let us know how we can help you. Thank you.
Our opinions are being sought because we've got the data to back up what we're saying. We have a different perspective based on the information that we're gathering on the energy issues and concerns of African Americans around this country. And we've got people of technical skill and knowledge representing us in those conversations. We are changing the nature of the debate in ways that can only inure to the good of our companies and our communities.
The voice of Abe now is such that we're talking about public policy issues that affect not just the African American community, but the energy industry. And the customers of all of our energy sector companies are the very people who identify with the membership of AABE. And if our voice is educated, our voice is credible. If the voice is credible, we become an asset for the industry in promulgating policies that make sense, that contribute to the bottom line, that make sense environmentally. It really is about arming the voices that contribute to the public policy debate.
Abe seems to be able to now stand up and take his rightful place in the role of providing information and education for people who are different and underrepresented.
AABE, sound technical analysis, community awareness, bridging energy companies, regulators, and the communities they serve, providing diverse energy perspectives, identifying, nurturing the next generation of energy leaders. This is AABE, and now is the time.